a secret code, a lost man, and a signal from space. Picture this. The year is 1948. A quiet summer evening in Adelaide, Australia. Couples walk along Somerton Beach, enjoying the calm waves and the cool breeze. Among them, a man sits propped against the seawall. He's immaculately dressed in a suit and tie. His legs are crossed neatly, his shoes polished, his posture relaxed. To most passersby, he looks like someone taking a moment of rest. Some recall seeing him move slightly, lifting an arm and then letting it fall back again. No one approached. Some thought he was drunk. Some thought he had simply dozed off. Nobody realized they were witnessing the last living moments of one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. The next morning, December 1st, the man was still there. But this time it was clear, he wasn't asleep. His body was lifeless, his head tilted back against the wall, an unlit cigarette resting oddly on his collar. The sight was chilling. He looked peaceful, untouched, and strangely deliberate, as though death had been arranged carefully, with precision. Police were called, and from that moment, the mystery deepened. There was no wallet, no ID, nothing to indicate who he was. Every label had been cut from his clothing. His suit, his shirt, even his tie anonymous. The autopsy found no obvious cause of death. His organs showed signs that suggested poison, but none was detected. His body gave no clues, except for its remarkable condition. Muscular calves, clean-shaven, well-kept hands. He seemed like a man who belonged to a higher class, yet there was no trace of him in any database. Fingerprints, photographs, dental records, everything led nowhere. It was as if he had simply appeared out of the void, lived a life no one could track, and died in complete obscurity. But that wasn't all. When investigators searched further, they found a suitcase in the Adelaide railway station cloakroom. Inside were clothes, tools, and a thread not sold in Australia, the same thread used to repair his trousers. The labels were cut off here too. One name appeared, written on a few items. T. Keane. At first, police thought they had cracked the case, but no missing man named Keane could be found. Later, it was revealed that the Somerton man's brother-in-law was named Thomas Keane, suggesting the clothes may have been hand-me-downs. Once again, the lead evaporated. And then came the most baffling clue of all. Months later, in a hidden fob pocket of his trousers, a tiny slip of paper was discovered. On it were 2 words, neatly printed Tamam Shud, Persian words, meaning it is finished. They came from a famous book of poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. When police traced it, they found that a copy of this book, missing its final page, had mysteriously appeared in the unlocked car of a man parked near the beach. This was the very copy from which the scrap of paper had been torn. And inside this book were faint pencil indentations. A phone number belonging to a young nurse named Jessica Thompson. And beneath it, 5 lines of strange letters, what looked like a code. The nurse denied knowing the dead man, but witnesses recalled her reacting with shock, almost fainting, when she was shown his plaster cast. She had once owned a copy of the Rubaiyat, which she'd given to an army lieutenant named Alfred Boxall. But when police tracked Boxall down, he was alive and well, and his copy of the book was intact. The mystery thickened. The letters scribbled inside the book remain unbroken to this day. A possible code. A possible nonsense string. But whatever it was, it tied directly to the man whose very existence had been erased. For decades, people speculated. Was he a spy in the early years of the Cold War? Was this a suicide, a personal tragedy marked with poetry? Or was he murdered, silenced by someone who wanted him to vanish without a trace? For more than 70 years, the Somerton Man remained nameless, until 2022, when genetic genealogy finally identified him as Carl Charles Webb, a 43-year-old electrical engineer from Melbourne. He was estranged from his wife, possibly searching for her in Adelaide. This explained some details: his tools, his handmade down clothes, but it raised more questions. Why did he die? Did he take his own life with an untraceable poison? Or did someone else end it for him? Naming him answered the smallest question, but it left the largest one unresolved. The words, "Tamam Shud, it is finished," only deepened the mystery. While investigators puzzled over a dead man on a beach, another puzzle was waiting, this time not in the human world, but in the cosmos itself. Fast forward to August 15, 1977, at Ohio State University. A massive structure called the Big Ear Radio Telescope scanned the skies. It was part of SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. One volunteer astronomer, Jerry Emin, sat down a few days later to review the endless streams of data, page after page of numbers. Background static. The usual silence of space. And then, a sudden burst of something extraordinary. 6 characters, 6 EQUJ5. To most people, meaningless. But in the telescope's code, it meant something very different. A signal 6 times stronger than the background, peeking at you 30 times stronger than the noise, then fading back down. A perfect 72-second bell curve, exactly matching the time it would take a fixed point in the sky to pass through the telescope's field of view. This wasn't a random glitch. It wasn't an airplane. It wasn't a local broadcast. It was coming from deep space. Emin was so astonished that he circled the characters in red and wrote one word in the margin. Wow, the wow signal. A single 72-second transmission from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, at the frequency of 1420 MHz, the hydrogen line. This frequency is no accident. Neutral hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, naturally emits at this frequency. Decades earlier, scientists had speculated that if any civilization wanted to send a message across the stars, this is the frequency they would choose. Quiet, protected, and universal. The perfect cosmic meeting ground, and that's exactly where the wow signal appeared. Theories flew. A secret military transmission. Impossible, given the protected frequency. A natural event. No natural radio source matches the sharpness and focus of the signal. A passing comet. Proposed in 2017, but quickly debunked. More recently, some suggest it could have been a maser flare, a cosmic burst of microwave energy amplified by hydrogen clouds. But the truth is, no one knows. The signal was never heard again, despite more than 50 follow-up scans. For 72 seconds, the universe shouted, and then, silence. Here's where the stories intertwine. On one hand, a man leaves behind a scrap of paper with the words, "It is finished." A message without context, an ending that explained nothing. On the other hand, the cosmos delivers a 72-second burst at the most logical frequency for interstellar communication. A message without sender, a hello that was never repeated. Both cases leave us with fragments, clues that demand answers, but refuse to yield them. Carl Webb now has a name, but not a story. The WOW signal has data, but no meaning. One life ended with a poetic phrase in a hidden pocket. One cosmic signal ended with silence. Both remind us of the same human truth. Our search for answers is endless, even when the evidence itself is incomplete. In the end, we are left with two unfinished messages. One written on paper, one written in radio waves, both unsolved, both haunting, both asking us to look harder, to question deeper, to listen more closely. Because maybe the real message in these mysteries isn't the answer, but the reminder that there is always more to discover. So what do you think? Was the Somerton man a spy, a husband chasing a lost love, or a victim of foul play? Was the WOW signal a cosmic accident, or the closest thing we've ever received to a greeting from another intelligence? Share your thoughts below, and if mysteries like these spark your imagination, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the unknown. Because somewhere out there, whether in the pages of an old book or in the static of the stars, the next mystery is waiting.